the acting CGN for being nominated by Mr. President to serve, and the NJC, sorry, to serve as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Well, you are here for screening. And I think the best aspect of determining the suitability of every nominee by these chambers, number one is the practical performance of such a nominee. For you, we've known you over the years. We've known your exploits in the judiciary of this nation. Been following you. You are known to us. And you've done very, very well. And you are still doing very well. That said, the CV you brought here is loaded with your excellent performance, exploits in the judiciary. That's not in doubt. Well loaded. It shows you have a wonderful pedigree in line with your practical performance. This we all know. So to me, you are highly suitable for this position. This is my personal opinion, and I'm sure most of my colleagues here share the same opinion with me. That said, I want to ask you a question, because I want you to bring your sound pedigree to bear in your office when confirmed as the substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria. We know that having integrity in our judiciary is something that is important, sine qua non for the sustenance of our democracy. Now, what will you do when confirmed as the substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria to ensure that you uphold, or we all uphold, or you uphold the integrity of our judiciary? Nigeria want to hear, because we know you have a wonderful pedigree. You were demonstrated that over the years in doing well in all assignments given to you. We've seen that over the years. So how will you bring that to bear in ensuring that we have integrity in the performance of our judiciary? Thank you, Mr. President.
Are you doubting the integrity of the judiciary?
No, we want the best.
No, it's important, because
I want us to tell Nigeria.
Are you having doubts?
Well, I'm not saying. In Hausa, there's an adage. Woman can mutin. See, I can't do wanka. If it is good, we want it to be enhanced.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Noted.
Sitting as chairman, my name is Senator Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North and immediate first chairman of the Judiciary Committee before my elevation to be the Chief Whip of the Senate. Acting Chief Judge, or Chief Justice of Nigeria, congratulations for your nomination and possible confirmation by the Senate. I adopt all the encomiums put on you based on the resume that you have submitted by the immediate first speaker, the distinguished Deputy Senate President, as mine, and wish to ask a question to the effect that the independence of the judiciary is sine qua non for the achievement of an egalitarian and just society. Once the independence of the judiciary is compromised or threatened, then it is an invitation to chaos and anarchy. So the judiciary should not only be seen to be independent, but should be seen manifestly to be independent. If, by the wisdom of the Senate, if confirmed, what steps are you going to take to ensure the independence of the judiciary so that our quest to achieve a just and egalitarian society will be achieved and will not be a mirage? Then the other one is there is stagnation of cases in the Supreme Court. And as such, there are various schools of thoughts to the effect that there is a need to restrict the number of cases that goes to the Supreme Court in order to free the Supreme Court from the backlog of stagnation of cases that goes to the Supreme Court. Then the other alternative is to enlarge the number of justices in the Supreme Court so that cases will be dispensed quickly, because in consonance with the adage that justice delayed is justice denied. Then the other issue is, in view of the controversy and the heat generated with regard to contestation for power that normally ends in our courts instead of the people deciding it. It's like now it is the courts that decide who governs as opposed to the people. So there is serious contestation for power, and the battle is taken to the courts. And as a result of that, in order to insulate the judiciary from the vagaries and vicissitudes of this political influence and what have you, there is a school of thought to the effect that there is need to create a constitutional court that will be vested with the jurisdiction to determine election-related matters. So I want your opinion on this. Well, where do you stand? Where do you stand as a renowned jurist that has attained your present position? Where do you stand on these issues that I raised? Thank you.
I wanted you to ask a question, but you ended up asking questions. Because if I understand you very well, you were more or less on judicial independence. What will she do as Chief Justice of Nigeria to sustain judicial independence or enhance judicial independence? But you also went further to add a political tone that it is judiciary that now determines who rules. I don't think the judiciary determines. I think the people still determine. But when people carry, in my place we have a saying that if somebody carries a basin of death into the market, anybody who has death will throw it in. Is it not we that carry our things to judiciary? We fail to resolve issues at the ballot, and then we run to them. So they have to take the decision as to which of you is fit to be there or not. So are you asking her whether she's going to stop us from going to them? Because they don't initiate cases. We are the ones who initiate cases, so we should advise the political class to settle most of their cases out of court. Am I right? So let me ask the chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary and Legal Matters, a senior advocate of Nigeria, to ask a question.
The Deputy Senate President, Senator Barau, you asked about how the integrity of the judiciary will be sustained under my leadership. I think the first thing in giving my CV I said one of the things that I'm known for is integrity. I'm also known for being strict on discipline. And therefore, in order to ensure that the integrity of the judiciary is maintained, I will ensure that the code of conduct is fully complied with. I will ensure that there is zero tolerance for corruption. We have a committee of the NJC that deals with performance evaluation. And what that does is they assess judgments delivered, they assess how judges are performing their functions, and they have regular conferences. And what I know is that we are even making moves now to tighten that performance evaluation process so that we can, when they submit returns, when judges submit returns, for instance, it's not about quality, but quantity. It's also about how they carry out their responsibilities. Are they punctual? Are they upright? And things like that. Now, in the NJC also, we are going to ensure that petitions are dealt with speedily. This is another way to let the public know that the integrity of the judiciary will be upheld in all circumstances. Another area for upholding the integrity of the judiciary is that there is a need also to insulate the judiciary from external influence. We are very grateful to His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, and the National Assembly for passing the bill that increased salaries of judicial officers. We are very grateful. But there is still a way to go. Because when we are talking about the integrity of the judiciary, it involves not only the take-home pay, it also involves infrastructure that we are working with. What is available? Is it conducive? These are all things that have an effect on how the judiciary performs and what. So in that regard, I will be pushing for still better welfare for judicial officers so that they too can perform at their optimum best. Thank you. The Chief Whip, Senator Tahir Monguno, representing Borno North. Distinguished Senator, you have asked about the judiciary, the independence of the judiciary, and I know that there are a lot of complaints at the moment about the process of appointment of judicial officers. This is an area that I'm also going to take very, very seriously. The NJC also has a committee working on this to ensure that we make the screening process rigorous, transparent, and something that the citizenry will be satisfied with when judges are appointed. So I'm going to make sure that this is done, and with dispatch. We are looking at other jurisdictions to see how they carry out this process and how we can improve our own process in that regard. I know that once the citizens are comfortable with the manner in which judicial officers are appointed, it makes them have more confidence in the entire system. I will also be encouraging or supporting improvement in our laws. So again, when it comes to the independence of the judiciary, all hands have to be on deck. And I look forward to working with not only the National Assembly, but also the executive to ensure that we have laws in place that enhance our independence. Stagnation of cases in the Supreme Court. whether the number of cases that go to the Supreme Court should be restricted, I am very firmly of the view that there needs to be a limit to the cases that get to the Supreme Court. One of the reasons for this is that the Supreme Court is a policy court. It's supposed to determine matters that have public policy significance, matters relating to the interpretation of the Constitution, or matters where very rare legal issues have come up which require a pronouncement from the Supreme Court. As you know, the constitutional provision gives us 90 days to deliver judgment from the date of final address. Those 90 days are spent dealing with matters of national significance as well as matters that have no significance on the national stage. I am of the view that many matters should terminate at the Court of Appeal, especially interlocutory appeals. There's also a situation where pre-election matters come all the way to the Supreme Court, whereas in national and state assembly elections, the substantive elections terminate at the Court of Appeal. I think all pre-election matters should terminate at the Court of Appeal. So many matters need to terminate at the Court of Appeal so that the Supreme Court can really live up to its designation as a policy court. Thank you very much. I don't believe enlarging the number of justices is the solution because the cases are so many. The backlog is tremendous. So even if you increase the number of justices, I believe that sometimes it gives the impression that, oh, there are more justices, so we can even file more appeals. It's more about the jurisdiction of the court, which I think should be limited. Thank you. I think His Excellency, the President of the Senate, has responded to the issue regarding elections. All I would say is that we need to strengthen our institutions, strengthen our attitude to elections so that people have confidence in the system and will not be encouraged to go to court all the time. The chairman of the Senate Committee on the Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, you have raised the question about conflicting judgments, and we know that this is a very serious concern. Now we have what is known as the doctrine of stare decisis, where a lower court is expected to follow the decisions of a higher court. Where it is shown that a judicial officer deliberately fails to follow that doctrine, there will be strict consequences. Also, it is necessary because there are so many complaints about conflicting judgments that where these conflicting judgments occur, there will be a need to have committees that will look into them and see how the court can take a position. The proper procedure will take place. The court cannot sit on appeal over its own decisions, but where these matters arise, the court's attention will be brought to them and they will be dealt with speedily. In the Supreme Court, for instance, where the court's attention is drawn to any of such matters, those matters will be fixed expeditiously so that those issues can be resolved. We know that it is a serious problem. It is also an act of misconduct if a judicial officer fails to follow laid down precedent. So this is something that is going to be tackled seriously. And yes, so in terms of the code of conduct, we will be dealing very decisively with matters where we find that this is happening. I also want to say that there are responsibilities for both the bar and the bench. So in this kind of situation, you also have legal practitioners who are aware of the existing precedent and they come and mislead the court. So as the head of the judiciary, I shall ensure that both the bar and the bench are up and doing in this regard, so that the legal practitioners disciplinary committee can also deal with those legal practitioners who are found to have deliberately misled the court. Another reason why you have some of these conflicting decisions is from what I would call forum shopping. So this is another area that will be tackled very seriously and very decisively. Thank you very much.